What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. In this video, I just wanted to do a review of some ditch lights that I'm going to be installing on my 2006 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD LBZ Duramax. So I'm a big fan of ditch lights. I do a lot of off-roading. I live in north central Pennsylvania, which is very rural, and the weather's always bad here, whether it's, whiteout blizzard or fog or rain. And the ditch lights are really handy when you're off-roading in those conditions. And even without those conditions at night, it helps you to see on the side of your vehicle. Normal headlights are mostly pointed forward. So if you're negotiating some tight turns on a trail, sometimes it's hard to see what's on the side, and you could easily drive off into a ditch. That's why they're called ditch lights. So these lights are mounted close to where your A-pillar is, and they're angled off to the side slightly, like 20 to 45 degrees. And so this way you can see kind of the sides, the front sides of your vehicle, what's over there, so you don't drive off a cliff, or so you don't drive into a tree that might have fell down or whatever. So these ditch lights are made by Diode Dynamics, and I'm going to install them so you guys can see how easy they are to install, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it on my LBZ. But Diode Dynamics makes really good stuff. They are on the higher end as far as price, but in my opinion, it's worth it to spend a little bit more money and have the peace of mind that your products are not going to fail after 2-3 years of being out in the elements and being used. Electronics and electrical equipment has a useful life, and if you go cheap on your lights, they're going to fail you when you need them, and then you're going to have to do more work to reinstall them. So I'd rather just buy once and cry once than buy twice and cry twice, okay? So 8-year warranty on these, and I'm not being sponsored by Diode Dynamics, by the way. I do have a set of their fog lights on my Trail Boss. These are the SS3 3-inch light pods. So one of the things with these light pods is I highly recommend you spend a little bit more money and get you the Pro version. So they have 3 versions of these. They have Sport, Pro, and then they have I forget what the next level is. But basically, your Sport version is going to be the budget option. That's going to have the lowest lumens and the lowest wattage. And here's actually the amps. So it's Sport, Pro, and Max. So here's one thing you want to look at that's going to help you with your decision, okay? And I just get the Pro. I don't waste my money on the Max, because look at the difference in wattage between the Pro and the Max. The Pro is 36 watts and the Max is 38.5 watts. So only a 2.5 watt difference going from Pro to Max. And you're going to be paying another $100, $150 probably. But when you go from Sport to Pro, look at the difference. 14.5 watts up to 36 watts for the Pro. So 2.5 times the watt output going from Sport to Pro. So it makes sense to get the Pro. I wouldn't spend the money on the Max. That's just my opinion. And then here you can see your amp draw. So your Pro is going to draw 2.7 amps, and it does have a backlight, which is going to be pretty interesting. Operating temperature minus 40 to 185 degrees, fully waterproof, blah, blah, blah. Now, one of the things I got for these, and these are the pods, by the way, really heavy duty. They feel really nice in the hand. They feel hefty. They feel, well built. Comes with these U brackets here. One of the things I got for these that I don't have on the Trail Boss, on my light pods on the Trail Boss, that I wish I got, is this security hardware kit. This is pretty cool. So basically, if you leave your truck somewhere in, a semi bad area or a bad area or whatever, could be a good area too. There's always a chance that somebody could just simply unbolt your lights from your mount and disconnect the harness and just steal it, you know. They usually just use regular Allen screws and just standard, bolts. So anybody with a basic small toolkit can, run over, unbolt your light and take it, and your alarm on your car would probably not go off if they're, careful about it. So they sell this security hardware kit. It's pretty cool. So basically one of these kits will work for 2 lights. So 1 pair of lights. And what they have is just basically these nuts here that have like a unique shape to them. You see that? So you're not going to be able to fit any kind of tool around this to loosen this nut. Okay, even if you get like channel locks, it's very difficult to get any kind of purchase on these because it has this weird like starfish cut, Now, what they do is they have a corresponding nut, all right, and that slips over this. That slips over. You see it fits right in there. And then you have your little wrench, or really any wrench. And now you can tighten this down. And then even cooler is for these screws here that mount into the light itself. These screws normally are just your standard Allen screws, but look at that. You see it's like a weird square with like a little pin sticking out. And so they give you a special key right here that works with those screws. You see that? So unless you have this particular Allen key, which most people won't, unless they're like off-roading people, chances are no one's going to be able to take this off. So I highly recommend that, especially if you go to a lot of truck shows. Like I do a lot of truck shows, and you leave your truck out, people are walking by, they get drunk, it gets dark. You never know, people could try to take it, or you leave it in a Walmart parking lot for a couple hours. So you're going to want to get this Stage Series security hardware kit, and it comes with enough hardware for 2 lights, okay? So I'm going to show you guys how to install this. I'm going to wire it into my Diode Dynamics D switch. It's a controller panel. I highly recommend it, by the way. It is expensive, but it gives you so much control over your lights. And I'm going to do a separate video. I did do a video already on how to install the D switch, but it's not a normal switch panel, that you can buy for $150 on Amazon. It has a very advanced computer inside. It even tells you the temperature. It tells you how much current is flowing through your switch, so you can monitor how much current is being sucked out of your batteries through your accessories. Just so much control. You can program each individual button to have different features. You can dim each button. You can program the button to do whatever you want, basically strobe, dim. You can have certain lights come on and stuff like that. So it gives you a lot of control. So we're just going to run this straight to the D switch. What we're going to have to do is they gave us these 2 pigtails. So what we're going to have to do is just solder those pigtails to some wires, and the blue wires for your backlight on your D switch. So this goes to the backlight stud. That's pretty cool. I'm excited to see what the backlight's going to look like. And with these, I ended up going with the combo kit. What do they call that? The combo pattern. So I was going to do flood. That's what I have on my Trail Boss. I have just flood. But with the Trail Boss, I have the ditch lights are flood, and then I have 2 spotlights as well on the A-pillar. And I don't have that capability with the LBZ, and I don't want to have too many lights hanging off the LBZ. I kind of want to have like a minimal footprint. I don't want it to look like too off-roady. That's what the Trail Boss is for. The LBZ, I kind of want to keep it like, the classic look. So I don't want to have like a bunch of, light cubes hanging off of it everywhere. Versus the Trail Boss, it's a newer truck. It's made for off-roading, so having a lot of light cubes looks, proper. So rather than having 2 separate light cubes on each A-pillar. Like on the Trail Boss, I just went with one on each side. That's going to be a combo, which is like flood and spot together. Okay, so it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. Not as good as a true flood, not as good as a true spot, but it kind of blends it together. So we're going to have to aim it. I will show you the brackets that I used. I already mounted the brackets on the hood. So you're going to go to this company called NYPrepper. If you do have an LBZ like I do, or any classic Silverado, they have brackets made by a company called NYPrepper. And basically, really any vehicle you have, they're going to mount the same. There's a little bracket that slips in between your hood and the hood mount, where the hood bolts down to the hinge. So you have the hinges on either side of your hood, and there's like a little plate there attached to the hinge, and then there's a couple of bolts, usually 3 bolts. You're just going to loosen those bolts enough so that the hood detaches from that hinge, and you're going to slide the bracket in between the hinge and the hood. And then that bracket is like a U shape, so the U is going to go around the hood, so when you close it, you can still close it, and that's where you're going to run your wires. I'll show you outside, but yeah, let's get started. Let's install this. And the tricky thing is going to be aiming it. That's going to be kind of a pain, because really getting these lights to be aimed properly, especially ditch lights, it's going to take a little bit of tweaking around, you know, getting it right. So that's going to be kind of annoying, but we're going to have to wait till it's dark to do that. But if you want to see how I installed the D switch, I'll leave a link in the top right corner, and I will do a full review of the D switch, show you guys all the features. Alright guys, so what I'm doing now is making my own wire harness. So I went to the auto parts store and I got some 16 gauge wire, red, black, and blue. And the blue is going to be for our backlight. And I'm going to solder all these connections. I'm a big fan of soldering. I really don't like crimping. Soldering is really the best if you can. Takes more time, but it's a more solid connection, less likely to loosen up and corrode. But I measured the wire out and I taped it together, and then we're going to solder all this together, and then we're going to loom it. So I had to make one length of wire for the driver's side, one length of wire for the passenger side, and then just one short, like 2-foot lead that they're going to solder into, and then that 2-foot lead is going to go into the D switch, and then we'll pretty much be good to go. Just got to bolt on the lights, and let me just show you the brackets though. Alright guys, I want to just show you the brackets. So these are from NYPrepper. I don't know how much I paid, maybe just like 30 bucks, and they basically just bolt in over here. So you got to take these 3 bolts out a little bit, you know, just like maybe a 1/4 inch. You loosen them up enough to where you can lift the hood up like a 1/4 inch, so there's like a 1/4 inch of gap here, and you just slide the bracket like from underneath from this side, and then you tighten it back down, and there's the bracket. It just comes through just like that, very low profile, and then that's what we're gonna bolt the Diode Dynamics bracket onto. Let me just show you how that's going to look with the hood closed. Dirty Max. So nice low profile. I think it's going to look great. It's going to provide a lot more lighting, which is critical for a lifted truck. Driving a lifted truck off-road, it's very easy to run something over, or run someone over, or fall off a cliff or something, because you got a huge blind spot right where I'm standing. So let's get those wires soldered, and then we're gonna mount these lights, and then we're gonna focus them, and we'll have to focus them later tonight, so stay tuned. All right guys, got the ditch lights installed. Wanted to show you how they look. Check it out. Nice amber lens. And I wanted to show you that security hardware. You see that weird looking nut there? and these screws. So the only thing we got to do now is we just got to double check our alignment. Luckily I got a huge farm next to me I can use, but these are super powerful. I'm glad I went with the combo because it gives me a little more distance, more of a throw than just a flood. So I'll show you guys what they look like at night from inside the cab and outside the cab. One thing I have to do is I'm going to have to order a new antenna, or simply I'm going to have to just take it off every time I want to open the hood, because when I open the hood, these heat sinks end up hitting the antenna. So I ordered a small copper rubber antenna that gives a little more than this old school metal one, so it'll just bend out of the way. This metal one's pretty stiff, so you know, it may end up throwing my light out of alignment every time I pop the hood. But stay tuned, we're gonna do some night testing. So let's see how it looks at night. All right guys, wanted to show you how bright these ditch lights are. So I just have my low beams on now, and as you can see, you can't really see the sides of the road too well. I mean, you can, but you'll see when I turn the ditch lights on, it makes a huge difference. Check this out. Wow, you see that? You can see the sides real nice. You can see any obstacles over here. I'm driving off-road. So this is exactly what you want ditch lights for. As you can see, really nice illumination on the sides here. And then if I turn it off, you can see, I mean, you can still see the sides, but just not, especially here on the driver's side, it's harder to see. So we'll do that one more time so you can see the difference. I'm gonna slow down a little here. We've got some nice open farms, so we can see the difference. So this is just low beams, and I have to say the factory low beams are great on these classic Duramaxes, but look at the difference there, huge difference. I might actually even angle these lights up a little bit so I can get more throw out of them. But check that out. And you know, obviously camera doesn't do justice, but man, look at that difference. I mean, huge difference, especially on the sides of the road. You know, here we got some more farms you'll be able to see better. You can see the fields clearly. You can see the big ditch there. So that's why they're called ditch lights. So you can really see the sides, see the ditches. Really awesome. Might angle them up just a little bit, but even just the way they are now, I mean, huge difference. Look, see? Massive difference. So all right guys, so you can see how these ditch lights really help out tremendously in seeing the sides of the road. Huge difference, especially on a lifted truck. 6-inch lift with 35-inch tires, plus it's a diesel, so they're naturally sitting higher. These come actually with a 2-inch body lift from the factory, so huge visibility increase. You can see hazards much sooner. I might actually aim these up a little bit more so they can throw better, but there you guys have it. I think they're awesome. Just wanted to show you guys how bright these lights are when you're staring at them. Super bright. The camera shows it as white, but it's just because the camera's confused. It's a amber color. It's like fog lights. You can see I have them set a little bit higher than my low beam. I'll show you the backlights now. So these are the backlights. I think they look pretty cool. Kind of helps with visibility. If you're off-roading, people can see you on the trail. But yeah, I think these lights are awesome. I might do some fine-tuning, thinking of maybe angling them up a little bit more. I'm not sure, maybe a little bit more out, I don't know. But Highly recommend these products, guys. Anything from Diode Dynamics, you're not going to go wrong. They're very high quality. Never had any issues with Diode Dynamics. You pay extra, but you get what you pay for, so in my opinion it's worth it. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until the next time, check out my off-roading and truck playlist. I'll leave a link in the top right corner. And take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere.